Now that we have defined our two key APIs, one to post our order and also another method to get the list of menus based on our search criteria. It's time to implement our repository design pattern. What I have done is I already defined this. So this is our restaurant repository interface. So we can basically add menu, add order, we can get orders, we can get menus based on our search criteria, we can remove menus. I will go into details of this, but let's just add this, define this interface. So we will define my restaurant repository as a property, public property. So we define it here. Now our idea is basically to save the order. So we can order entity order equals repository dot add order and request dot order, because it takes order entity as a parameter. Once it adds the order, it returns the order which is saved in the database. So we can return that as our response. So we just simply set to order. Okay, let's go into this method and dig the details. So add order. If you look, I have created a database context. We are mapping order entity into menu order database entity. So I will cover that in the configuration of auto mapper. I'm going to update some of the details like which user. For testing purpose, I am just setting it to the user. This is the current timestamp. Now the main thing which we need to do is update the total amount. So what it does is it iterates through all the items and it finds the hotel menu ID, and so that it can get the price. So and then it multiplies by quantity to get the amount. So all other details like table number and all are coming from the order entity. So these are only the extra attributes which are not updated from inside the order entity class. So once we do that, we also add all the items collection to hotel menu items collection, in fact in that table, and we do the changes, and finally we return back order entity. So we map this order in and convert it into order entity using AutoMapper, and we return it back. And if there is any exception, we return a null. Okay, so that is about placing the order. Let's also get the list of menus. So var list repository get menus. We need to pass request dot type and request dot search criteria. So we get the list of menu entities, and that's what we are going to assign it. is better we type it as menu items. That's more logical name for it. So let's go into details of how this method is implemented. So if we come here, first thing it does is it's getting all the menus which are not deleted based on the menu type, and then we check further filter. If search string is not empty, then we check the name to match, and we then return back the list. Now you can see this menu is a list of database entity hotel menu item. Hotel menu, and so we convert it back to menu entity and return it. Now this is simple list. If there is no further filtering required, then it simply returns based on the menu type. So it's simple. Okay. So we have now implemented our both the methods. I need to decorate this with root attribute. So I'm going to say menus and method will be get. I have to pass it like a curve bracket instead of rectangle. Okay, so the final few bit of our implementation is, let's add here new class to define our auto mapper config class, where we define all the, we'll make it like a static class. It will have one method where we define all the mappings. So going to just copy and paste it. Let's just add the references so that so if you look at this method, these are simple create map. So this is the source entity and this is the destination entity, and we are now specifying if there is any difference. We use for member. So hotel menu item ID is not there in the source. We just specify to which attribute it is mapped to. Similarly, we map between the rivers, because again we need to specify here how some of the other attributes to be mapped. So like unit price and the name is coming from some navigational property of our database entity. So we have 4 members for each of them. And similarly, here we create a mapping between order entity and menu order entity. Again, most of them are similar, so except for the ID. And this is the final mapping between menu entity and hotel menu, and both are identical. So we have created map, as well as once we call reverse map, it map between hotel menu and menu entity. So with these changes done, we need to do final few things. So let's register our repository so that dependency injection nodes the resolution when so register restaurant repository to restaurant repository. I need to check its syntax. I think that's it. So we just pass what instance it can resolve. Now we have implemented our service, we have done our configuration between entities, and final thing we call is we'll call our auto mapper class it is auto mapper config. Register, alright. What method name given? Register mappings. So with this thing ready, we are now in a position to build our solution, and we are now going to test our REST web service using REST client Postman. We'll test our web service in the next module. Thank you.